we found out that we were pregnant, which was really shocking because I just prepared myself mentally, for the worst. When I went for the first scan and I looked at the screen of the sonogram and you could clearly see 2 sacs, and he goes, there's a chance that you might be having twins.
Welcome to 20-Minute Health Talk. I'm your host, Rob Hoyle. Today is Valentine's Day, and across the world there has been a rekindling of love for science. Thanks to COVID-19 vaccines and medical breakthroughs, that love goes beyond medical research and directly touches the people helping to make scientific progress. We talked to 2 researchers today who share what it's like to build a relationship and a family while pursuing a career in research. We have Kim Simpfendorfer, an assistant professor at the Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research, and her husband, Michael Ryan. He's the director of clinical research at the Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research. Thank you so much for joining us today to tell your story. Valentine's Day is a time when we celebrate love, and you'll have to tell us about how you met and how your relationship developed in the lab. But first, tell us about your love for science.
I feel like really lucky that I get to do this job because we basically spend all day thinking about how biology works, and with the hope that it can lead to something that will help treat and cure disease. I love that we get to be creative, that we get to play with data. We work with really super, super smart people, very ambitious and hardworking people. And so honestly, it's great to be part of such an incredible team and just do such interesting things every day.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is I've always really enjoyed working for Northwell and for the Feinstein in general. And it gives you a sense of pride that you're doing something for the greater good to help people, just helps put passion into what you do. And I've always liked working in labs and with samples and with smart people. So it's been really a great experience.
Awesome. Are the twins waking up?
Yeah. Can you hear them?
We can go grab them if you want to get a quick shot of them.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's awesome. So how old are the twins now?
They're 4.5 months.
Aw. Is that Luna?
This is Luna. She's the bigger one.
Aw. Hi. Oh, hi, Luna. And there's Stella. Steffi.
Yeah, Steffi.
Steffi and Luna. Oh, my. So they're identical.
Yeah.
Do you ever mix them up or now?
We
occasionally when it's dark.
Yeah,
and the big sister is Thea.
That's right.
Yeah. A bunch of smart women. There you go, right?
Yeah. Oh, they're beautiful. How did you guys land at the Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research? What brought you there?
I'll start with you.
So I did my PhD at the University of Melbourne, and what I really am interested in studying is the genetics of human autoimmune disease. And so I found Peter Gregerson, the director and the center head of the Genomics and the Genetics Center at the Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research. He's a world-renowned geneticist and also happens to have a repository for studying healthy individuals in the human population called the Genotype and Phenotype Registry. And that is one of the main draw cards that brought me here, because I think that is a brilliant way to study human genetics.
Awesome. And Michael, what brought you to Feinstein?
Yeah, so I'm not as complicated. Yeah, so after school, I just liked working in labs and in science. So I really just wanted to work in a lab. So I interviewed at Northwell and actually got a job as an accessioner over at Core Lab for my first year here. And then I heard of an opportunity at the Feinstein with Dr. Gregerson and Dr. Annette Lee, interviewed and then got the position. And I've been with them for almost 20 years now.
Tell us a little bit about how you two came together and how you started your relationship.
Well, when I joined the Feinstein Institutes, I obviously came to New York on my own. I didn't know anyone, so I was keen to make friends. And Mike was a really friendly face. And so we initially just became friends and chatted in the lab most days. And the really nice thing was I was living in Queens at the time, so I would take the Long Island Railroad to come into work, and would initially took the bus. And so because Mike lived locally and had a car, he was nice enough to offer me a ride. And that sort of morphed into him giving me a ride to the train station most days.
And Michael, how did that relationship, that friendship turn romantic?
Well, it started out obviously it's just, getting to know Kim and driving her all, spending time every day. And one day I kind of invited her out to have drinks one evening at a local bar. And, from that point on, she kind of just never left, and it was great. So pretty much it was on from there. We spent the whole weekend together after that. And then we pretty much spend, say, about 80%, 90% of our time together. It's great.
Once you guys decided to start a family, what did that look like for you?
So the funny thing is that when we first got together, we didn't think we wanted kids. And after a few trips to Australia and spending a lot of time with my nieces and nephews, we kind of changed hands on that. And so after we got married, we started trying. And after 6 months of not falling pregnant naturally, we decided to seek some help with fertility. We learned that we have infertility, and so that was really the beginning of our IVF journey.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that journey. It could be a difficult journey. Tell me a little bit about it for you guys.
It is a very hard and long process. And so from the point where we started to the point where we fell pregnant with our first daughter, Thea, was almost 3 years. The highs are high and the lows are low. And so in a nutshell, we actually did 3 rounds of retrieval. So that's a lot of injections and 3 operations. And our first attempt at transferring an embryo failed. And so after that, it was our second and third retrieval, and we decided to do the 2 lots of retrievals because in the second retrieval we only obtained 1 good embryo, and so we knew that we probably wanted to have more than 1 child, and that if we didn't get and freeze more embryos at that time, that I would be a few years older probably before we were able to get and save those. And so we ended up banking a bunch of embryos, and the first one of those that we transferred, I fell pregnant with, and that became our daughter Thea, who's now 2.5.
Yeah. So I just want to add to that. So the overall process was pretty stressful. Insurance only covers 3 full rounds of retrievals and transfers, which is why we kind of decided after the first round wasn't that successful, we decided to go through with the final 2 rounds. And that's lifetime technically. So insurance won't really cover any more procedures at this point.
Right. It's also a very expensive process. So we basically burned through the medication allowance for our lifetime in the first round of retrievals. So after that, the medication, which is very expensive, was all out of pocket.
Wow. Does it make it more difficult or easier for you as researchers and having a scientific background to go through this process?
I think it helped us because both of us like to follow protocols. And so although it's hard and painful and very wearing on your emotions, at least you know where you're going. And at least you know what you'll be doing on day 10 and what you'll be doing on day 12. And you'll know the moment that you're not pregnant and then the moment that you might be pregnant. So it's exciting. And in a way, you feel like you've got some semblance of control, at least.
Right. And so tell me then twins come along. Tell me a little bit about that.
We had originally agreed that we would try for a girl and then a boy. But we kind of changed our minds, and both growing up without, Mike never had a brother, I never had a sister. We decided it might be nice to try to give Thea a sister. And so we had one remaining female embryo. And so we thought, all right, we'll try this one first. I was absolutely convinced that it wouldn't work, and that we'd then have to go back again and try another time. And then we found out that we were pregnant, which was really shocking because I just prepared myself mentally, for the worst. And so that was like a lot of tears and of happiness. And then when I went for the first scan, the doctor who wasn't the doctor who actually performed the transfer of this particular embryo. And so he's looking and he says to me, "How many embryos did you put in again?" And I said, "1." And then I looked at the screen of the sonogram and you could clearly see 2 sacs. And he goes, "There's a chance that you might be having twins." And at that moment, I just knew that it was going to be twins for sure.
How excited were you for that? And how excited was Thea?
I don't think Thea really understood for a while because we actually named them early. So it's Luna and Steffi are the 2 twins. So we would always refer to them as Luna Steffi. And I think she always just thought it was one thing. I don't think she understood that it was really 2.
Well, we did teach her because everyone would always ask her how many babies are in mum's belly, and she'd say 2. But being so little, we're not really quite sure how much of that she understood. But no, she's a great big sister.
How wonderful is this for you and the family? What is this like? You seem over the moon.
It is great. And Mike's from a really big family. And so it's a kind of amazing, actually, that this was the first set of twins on his side of the family. My side of the family actually has 3 sets of twins. And so not such a amazing, wonderful, like it is amazing and wonderful, but it's not as new as it is here in the New York family. I mean, I think it's a miracle, to be honest. I think we're very, very lucky.
Awesome. And Michael, what's it like to be raising 3 girls?
It's challenging, but it's good. It's great. They're all lovely kids. Sometimes I feel like it can be easier, but I just worry about the later years. Yeah. Being a dad to teenage girls kind of scares me, but
each day at a time, right?
Yeah.
So, Michael, during the height of COVID, you were part of the COVID-19 response team. What did that look like for you and for your family?
So that was a tough time. We were still living in Manhasset at the time, and Kim was pregnant, and Thea was still less than 2. So my response was basically I had to help in the lab. So we set up a triage lab in the bottom of LIJ, old micro lab area, to help support lab operations for sample collections for both the Regeneron trial and other biobanking activities that we were trying to do around collecting research samples to study COVID-19. And I was pretty much in the beginning of it while we were setting up the lab operations, doing about like 8, 9, 10-hour days on site, and coming home, having to take off my clothes, wash everything, and I was just worried about coming home and getting everyone sick.
Sure. Kim, what was it like for you, being pregnant with twins during, this pandemic?
So I think the blessing was that the vaccine became available right around the time that I got pregnant. And so I was really worried about myself being sick or my babies being sick, especially with COVID, because when Thea was born, she was in the NICU for 6 days. She ended up with a collapsed lung, and that was really probably the hardest 6 days of our lives. And having twins, a lot of twins need NICU time. And we were really scared that I would be out of action, more so from getting sick than just recovering from a C-section. And so luckily for us, the vaccine became available, and we were recommended by our doctors that I should take it. And that really gave us a very strong sense of protection and relief, to be honest.
Yeah. Does your background in science also help you to be reassured?
It helps me to be less worried about these conspiracy theories and, alternative facts.
Yeah.
And so, I do understand how the biology works. And so things that might scare others if they don't know what's good information and not was less intimidating to us, I would say.
Yeah, but having worked in science and research, we kind of understand the scientific process and trust in how it works.
Awesome. So the big question is, how do you plan on spending Valentine's Day?
I think a nice quiet day at home with the family, taking care of the kids and, just spending good time together.
Yeah,
Awesome.
We don't go out much these days, so probably not on a date at a restaurant, but maybe we can postpone that for a month or so and have a night out, just the two of us, which hasn't really happened yet.
Awesome. You deserve it. Well, thanks, Michael and Kim, for joining us here on 20-Minute Health Talk. We wish you and your family the best, and also wish you a very happy Valentine's Day.
Thanks. Same to you.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.